Happy Friday. Let's talk about Mars stationing retrograde in Leo. That is happening today. Quick, blatant self promotion. My 2025 Astro Guide is now available. Also, I will be dropping horoscopes on Substack. Very exciting for my paid subscriber. So, if you are considering becoming a paid subscriber, now is the time. That is happening on 12/12. I've been dragging my feet, but that will be happening. Mercury's retrograde. Mars is retrograde. Things have been kind of slow motion for even me as an Aries rising, right? Sometimes it's time to pause and slow it down. So, we are going to talk about that right now. We know all about Mercury retrograde, which is still retrograde until the 15th. We know with Mercury retrograde, it's travel, it's communication, it's technology. What about with Mars? Mars is another animal. Like, quite literally, Mars is an animal. It's our animal instinct. It's our primal energy. It's our, our raw passion. So when I see Mars in the chart, I'm like, what kind of animal are you? Like, are you a crab sidestepping conflict? Mars in Cancer, okay? Are you the king of the jungle protecting your pride? I'm not even going to get into the debate about how people tell me that the lion is not the king of the jungle, but whatever. Mars in Leo has entered the chat, right? That's Mars in Leo. Mars is our desire, our survival, our initiative, our courage, our will, our anger, our aggression, our assertion, our sexuality, it's ambition, it's passion, it's energy, it's competition. Mars is literally how you drive your car, right? If you have a strong Mars, you could be good at building things. Shout out to Mars and Capricorn. It's how you get what you want. It's how you fight. It's how you do the other F. Are you driven by your emotions, right? Mars and Cancer. Are you driven more by your ego? Mars and Leo. Now, I'm not saying ego is a bad thing. Sometimes we need our ego to kind of like big up ourselves, to have the courage to carry on, to try new things, right? That's our ego. It's when it gets unhealthy is when it's bad. So people hear ego and they think bad. No. But Mars and Leo is going to be more driven by pride. Like, I can do this. I'm the boss. Mars and Cancer is going to be driven by maybe the family, or, like grinding for your last name or your emotions. Maybe I'm doing this for an emotional reason, something that's near and dear to my heart. Mars is considered to be strong in the signs of Aries, Scorpio, and Capricorn, right? Aries and Scorpio, it's at home. Mars is the current ruler of Aries. Scorpio, that was Mars's traditional ruler. Capricorn is exalted. Mars is considered to be weaker in the signs of Libra, Taurus, and Cancer. We're having Mars retrograde into Cancer. That's one of the signs that it's considered to be weaker in. Keep that in mind. I talk about Mars in Libra. Honestly, I'll take Mars in Cancer over Mars in Libra. No shade to my Mars in Libra people listening. But again, Mars transiting Cancer, it's like you have to be emotionally called to do something. It's harder to get the passion going unless you feel it like on a spiritual level. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but some people, they have to be moved to do things. And also our energy levels can wax and wane like the phases of the moon. Maybe one day you're super motivated to do something, and then the next you're kind of moody and you really want to chill. Honestly, my son has this placement and I do see that. Okay. Mars is going to be in Cancer for a long, long time. All right. The retrograde kicks off in Leo today, but on January 6th, Mars retrogrades back into Cancer. It will station direct in Cancer February 23rd, but then it'll be in Cancer until April 18th when it moves back into Leo. Lord, that's a long time. All right. And the area where Mars is transiting, or even in your natal chart, is where I like to say you can find focus in fights or attention in arguments, right? It's the area where you're likely to put a lot of your attention into, but you also can have conflicts because Mars is combative. I have Mars in the 10th house. Let me tell you, I've been fired from many a job, okay? Mars in Leo is more bold and brave. It's loud and proud, right? You're ready to boss up, step into that leadership position. You're like, put me in the spotlight. Nobody puts baby in a corner. It's creative. It's courageous. On the low vibe, Mars and Leo could be drama king, drama queen vibes. It can manifest as temper tantrums if you're not in the spotlight. Leo does rule the theater after all, okay? Let's save the drama for the stage though. Now, what happens to your bravado now that Mars is stationing retrograde in Leo? Well, let's talk about a retrograde in Mars, right? Or a retrograde period. It's a time where a planet appears to be spinning backwards, but it's not really backwards. It's an optical illusion. It's slowed down. Earth is still rotating at its normal speed, but the planet has slowed down, so it appears that the planet is spinning backwards. Now, All planets go retrograde outside of the luminaries, the sun and the moon. Okay, so if you're ruled by the sun and the moon, shout out to you. You never have your ruling planet go retrograde. Now, what is a retrograde? It's a period of reflection and introspection. The planetary movement is slower, so is the energy. It's not the best time to drop the mixtape. You know, I always say that, to move forward with plans, to take action. I don't care, fight me on this. I'm dying on this hill. Maybe if you have Mars retrograde natally in your chart, it's a good time for you to move forward. The rest of us, 0 out of 10. Okay, don't try to drop something. The energy is so slow, especially with the retrograde. Mars and Mercury will be together retrograde for about a week or so. So no. Okay. We're planning for 2025. Now, what is Mars? Like we just talked about, it's the planet of action. So when Mars stations retrograde, it's like cut the cameras. The pictures are not rolling. You know, when you go on set, I don't know if you've been on set, but they're like, pictures up, rolling, quiet on set, right? No. It's like cut and it's nothing happening. They can feel like there's no action. I love that like theater reference, a film reference with Leo, because it's acting, right? So maybe we find that it's harder to unlock our passion, our confidence, our drive. We could feel more tired. We could feel a little bit more lackluster, all right? It's better to review and reflect on your action versus taking action. There can literally be stalls and delayed progress when it comes to your projects and pursuits. Now, think back to Mars. Think back to when Mars was retrograde in Gemini and let me know if you've got a lot of stuff done. That was 2023. Low-key, that was a nightmare for me. I'm not as mad at this retrograde because both Leo and Cancer is a little less chaotic, even with Mars and Cancer being in its detriment. What's the tea? Mars is stationing retrograde at 22 degrees of Leo. If you have anything around 22 degrees, I mean, really, if you have anything from 22 to all the way back to Cancer, okay? It's going to go all the way and it's going to moonwalk back to Cancer. So just watch out, pay attention, especially if you're a Leo rising, right? Or your Mars is in Leo. I'm going to talk mostly about Mars and Leo because that's what's happening first. We'll spin the block on Mars and Cancer next month. With Mars and Leo retrograde, maybe we don't feel ready for our close-up. We don't feel brave and bold. We feel kind of like second-guessing ourselves. Maybe we're like, ooh, my artwork is bad because Leo's creativity, you know, or I don't know how I feel about dropping my YouTube channel or my blog. It might seem just like whack to us now, for lack of a better word. It could be a case where you're feeling super critical about yourself, right? Maybe it's not that your art is not necessarily good, but it's just how you're feeling about you. Your confidence is lacking, okay? So it's a good time for reflecting on your self-image and like embracing self-care, okay? You deserve rest. I deserve rest too. Okay. I'm an Aries rising. So it's time for us to rest. All right. It's winter. It's literally cold. I don't know. On the East Coast, it's cold. I don't know where you are, but it's cold. It's a time of chill. Like things are not really growing. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity for me to reflect and to like prepare for when spring comes so I can plant my seeds. Now, as Mars retrogrades back into Cancer next year, 2025, January 6th, the focus shifts from the self to the family, right? Maybe you notice there's a stronger instinct for you to go back to your roots, but there can also be a stronger instinct for you to have arguments with your family, right? You can be more sensitive in your feels. Again, I'm going to touch more on this next month. Let's keep it cute. Let's keep it current. Now, how is Mars in retrograde impacting your rising sign? You can listen for your sun too, but you know I like the rising first, okay? Aries, let's start with Aries. These are short and sweet horoscopes, mini scopes, okay? Mars, your ruler, is slowing down, and so is your pace rams. Instead of blazing a new trail, maybe travel down an old path and revisit a creative project you cast aside. You get a thrill from starting things, but finishing can be just as satisfying. I know that's right. Taurus, don't beef with the family at Christmas dinner bowls. If you have a problem with a loved one, then it's time to address it in a healthy manner. Stonewalling is not healthy. If you need to get a neutral party involved, maybe try therapy. We love family therapy here at the Hippy Dippy. Gemini, you love a debate twin, but people can take the verbal sparring to heart, and it becomes more than an innocent convo. Keep things light and fun. Reflect on the projects you've taken on. Are you doing more talking than taking action? Cancer, your money is the focus, and that may lead to conflicts, Crabbies. If your finances aren't flowing freely, take this time to reset your money goals. Also, check in with your values. Is your attention on the right thing? Are you already hashtag blessed? Count your blessings, not your burdens. Leo, are you feeling a little aggressive, Lions? Make sure the cause is worth fighting for before you wage a war. It could be a battle that you ultimately can't win. Regroup and figure out a way to stay patient and persevere when you meet obstacles or even ops. Okay, the ops are out, Leo. Virgo, those old ghosts are making their presence known so you can heal from the past. It's time to let go of the pain stored in your subconscious. Being triggered is good. Hear me out. It lets you know there's still work to do when it comes to healing. Heal yourself, Virgo. Libra, friendships may bring conflicts, but it's time to speak your mind, Libra. You may even cut back on the time you spend with friends that aren't on your same trajectory. You're reflecting on long-term goals and getting clear on your dreams. Scorpio, don't beat yourself up if you haven't hit your career goals, Scorpio. Maybe some adjustments need to be made if you're not where you want to be professionally. Write down what you want and figure out a path to get there. You know you could do it. Sagittarius, maybe your passport renewal didn't come through and now you can't take that trip, or your PTO was denied. You know that happens, and you can't travel. Take this time to reflect on all your adventures and how you can find more excitement in your everyday life. Maybe it's time to tap back in with your faith. Capricorn, love and money, Cappies, those are the themes. Maybe you feel burdened by your loved ones and their financial and or emotional needs. I know that's right. There may be a sex issue. Try to address any relationships gripes with care and not crash out. Yes, no crashing out. Aquarius, are we fighting, or the other F aquas? You may feel more feisty in your partnerships, and I'm not just talking intimate. You could notice that relationships take an aggressive tone. How can you reach a resolution that makes both parties happy? Pisces, are you working too hard? Maybe you are with Saturn in your sign. How can you work smarter and not harder? It's time to embrace a daily routine that supports both your physical and mental health. You deserve peace, Pisces. Make sure to check out my 2025 Astro Guide and make sure to consider subscribing because I am dropping the 2025 horoscopes right here on Substack on 12/12. Let it go.